Exactly 30 minutes past the hour of 9. That was Freshly Ground with Take Me Home. There's something about this new edition of Freshly Ground that just grounds me, man. I don't know. Every time I hear her voice, I'm like, yes, yes, you belong. Because you always get that thing whenever someone leaves a band, but ish, man, are we going to listen to this band now? Because, the person we liked is gone. And then someone comes along and is like, yes, you have to keep on listening to Freshly Ground because we are Freshly Ground. Incredible, man. I promised you a very important conversation in the first hour of the show, and that time has arrived. Joining me right now is Esetu Soteni, who is the project manager for the Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation, ahead of their gender-based violence and femicide march that is themed around awareness to action, building communities that protect. What does that look like, and how significant is it in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide? Esetu, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, actually, because you've
I've
joined us
been here.
just virtually. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm well, super excited to be having this conversation with you. But also, we have a tradition on the show where we like to find out from our guests what it is that grounds them, what it is that brings them back to themselves when they feel like everything else is overwhelming. Because the work that you do is heavy, it's taxing and sometimes requires so much of you. So, what grounds you and what reminds you of yourself when it just gets a lot?
It really becomes a lot. I think what just grounds me, man, is my commitment to the work that I do. I always remind myself why I have started and why the work that I do matters. And I also just remind myself to take moments to myself and just pour into my own cup. I think most of us, Abakwese space, we'd like giving. We just give
Absolutely.
so much of ourselves to other people to an extent that we even forget ukubana nathi we need to pour into our own cups. So the works that I actually do, it's just me pouring into myself again. But again, Lando Iti, the work that we do is important. We serve in communities. I'm running a business on the side that on its own is taking so much of my energy and my time. But man, I think just the love of everything that I do just keeps me grounded.
I like that, Big E. But for listeners who are meeting you for the first time, who is Esetu and how did you join the Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation and when?
Man, that's a tricky one. Who am I? I am just a young man from East London who is passionate about serving communities. Over the years, I've formed various initiatives that are aimed at equipping young people with skills. We have fought, on the front lines against gender-based violence, HIV prevalence in the country. I've done work around gender equality. But most importantly, man, I am just a young person who's committed to serving communities. I joined Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation this year. I joined this year. Umama was like, hey, man, I want you to come on board. I see the work that you're doing, and I would like for you to assist us with this project, coordinating particularly this walk as Yenzai. So the walk, Yenzai East London and Cape Town. So we've got a team in Cape Town, so I am assisting the East London. But also whenever I'm needed by the Cape Town team, I also step in and assist.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know the story of what happened to Uyinene, but I don't think a lot of people may understand the functions and the mandate of the foundation. If you could just tell us a bit about the Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation, the work that it seeks out to do, and its very core functions and mandate.
The foundation was founded after the tragic loss of Uyinene, obviously in 2019. The mission was to ensure that izinto ezenzeke ku-Uyinene aziphinde zenzeke to anyone else, especially women and children in this country. So over the years, we've not just led marches around the country, but also we've been on the front lines ensuring ukuthi if voices of the victims of gender-based violence are heard. We have been fighting in court. Usisilo Ndambanayo Uyivon is also one of the people that ensures ukuthi every time there's a court case, especially around the GBV, she is there representing the foundation. So you might not see us being visible on social media and talking about all of these things, but on the ground, we are there. We also have ambassadors that we're working with. These are young people that we train in communities because we understand that these are people that are affected by these issues. So we have recently just trained a group of young people from Esake Kamva. There's also another school, I just forgot the school, but it's 2 other schools. Esinye singapha phesha kweNciba, esinye, what is the name of the school? It's just slipping my mind. But it was 3 schools that we trained this year. Those are our GBV ambassadors. These are young people that are doing campaigns esikolweni and in their communities. We also have young people on the ground that are GBV ambassadors. They are the ones that are training communities on gender-based violence and ensuring that if victims of gender-based violence bayakwazi ukuzirepota cases and those cases are followed up on. We also have a team ka Uyinene yesoka because we believe that we must not leave boys behind around this conversation. Because remember, there are toxic gender norms that we are taught from a very young age as boys. So it's very important that siwugobe osemtsha. So siyabagoba ke besebatsha bekanjalo using sports, arts as a way of getting, through to them and having these conversations around gender-based violence. So that's really the work that we're doing. So at national level, we're ensuring indobana we're informing policies. At ground level, we're ensuring indobana as conversations are happening, but they are happening at a level eti umdana will be able to understand indaba gender-based violence.
You mentioned the work of also involving young people on the ground to help amplify the work that you're doing, but to also help teach and connect, communities on this particular subject matter. There's a notion that old people usually have in our communities, and it's that, why involve abantwana kwezinto? Abantwana
abazazi izinto.
Umntwana wazi into gender-based violence, niyabamosha abantwana because you're giving them too much, information and too much language around things they shouldn't be concerned about. So why is it important to involve young people in these conversations and to make sure they're at the front line of facilitating communities?
These young people are affected by gender-based violence. They are the ones that witness okokuqala abazali babo being beaten up every single day. They are the ones that are getting raped by omalume and people that they know from the communities. So why should they not be a part of the conversation? It's very important that they are part and also they understand ukubana ivoice yabo matters and that they should be reporting as cases of gender-based violence. As I mentioned before, Ukuti, from a very young age, we are taught as boys that we must be dominant and that we've got a right over imizimba yabantu abazi females, that you can do whatever. There are toxic norms that we are taught. Ukubana xa uphuma ehlathini, for example, there are certain things that you need to do in order for you to prove that you're a man. Those are some of the behaviors that we learn as we grow as boy children, and we need to unlearn most of those toxic behaviors and norms that we are taught from a very young age. So it's very important that we become part of these conversations and we ensure that at a very young age, a young person understands Okoti. They can't just do whatever that they want simply because that they have been taught ukubana they are dominant as kids. So it's very important that they form part. And over the years, kwesi space akwa development, I've learned ukubana voices abantu abatsha zibalulekile. When it comes to informing policies, I think now you can also attest to that. The fellowships that we have been a part of, the policy discussions that we have been a part of, you'd learn ukuthi without the voices of young people, certain things cannot be passed because representation yabantu abatsha is important. So in order for them to form part of those policy discussions, from a very young age, they need to learn the importance of taking part.
And now this year's March theme is from awareness to action, building
yes.
communities that protect.
protect.
So what does that shift from awareness to action actually look like on the ground?
I think when we spoke about this theme, we looked at Indokuti, our communities are aware of gender-based violence. They are aware of social ills. They are aware of a lot of these things. But what are we doing about it? And then from there on, how do we build communities that are taking an active role in ensuring that they are protecting not just kids, but women as well? So we're moving away from just saying we must create awareness campaigns. We are walking because we want to create an awareness. We want action now. And what does that action look like? It looks like if you are seeing someone being abused, and next door, you are able to call the police and report that case. If you are seeing umdana who is living in a condition of indobana aiko right, you need to take action as umeza wake and do something about it. So now we're just moving away from Lendo 80. We must just educate. Let's move towards action now. Let's move towards collaboration as well. There are many civil society organizations or community-based organizations as the corner with communities zetu. What are they doing? Are we collaborating with them as well? So that's what moving away from awareness to action looks like in building communities that protect. It's us taking responsibility as a society to say all of us have got a role to play in this. It's not just Amapolisa, it's not just big organization, but all of us.
And I want to touch base on that because I'm interested in why the foundation believes that communities are at the center of protecting, people from gender-based violence and not police. Because we know that to be the work of police, there's a problem in the community. So why do you guys believe that communities and not the government and not the police need to be the ones actively protecting its people?
We can't shift responsibility. I think for the longest of time, our societies have always shifted responsibility from one person to the next. As a foundation, we believe that we all have a collective role to play when it comes to social issues. Remember, ukuze kube kanti kubizwa amapolisa, someone had to do something. Someone had to commit a crime, and then they need to call the police. And someone had to witness that crime happen. And it's your neighbor. It's umntu ohlala ngaphaya. So all of us have got a collective responsibility. Yokuthi, if something is happening within our society, we all need to play our role. Whether it's little okanye uyibona encinci, but kunyanzelekile ukuthi udlale indima yakho njengomntu. And we need to protect i-communities zethu. I think mna ke ndikhulele ezilalini, andiyazi abanye abantu abakholelwe kwezinye indawo. Bekusithi kovakala isikhalo kwamakhelwane okanye kwalapha e-erini, bekuxhuma wonke umntu. Baxhuma abantu abangotata bathatha izagweba bayokuva ukuthi kwenzeka ntoni. That's the kind of society that we need to be, okubana when there's something wrong that is happening within a community, we are all able to stand up and go and find out ukuthi what is happening. So that is the collective responsibility esithetha ngayo. Asithi makubethwe abantu, but we're saying stand up when there's something that you see iyenzeka,
Yeah, and I always say, unfortunately, the police cannot be in every home. They cannot be in the spaces where we interact with each other and the spaces where we live as communities. But this year's March includes Uzozibini.
Oh yes, clock that.
Miss Universe, Miss South Africa. What does her involvement add to the campaign?
Oh man, it adds so much value. Uzozi, we've seen after winning Miss Universe how instrumental her voice was in just leading and a lot of conversations from race to Black identity to gender-based violence to femicide. A lot of conversations that she was able to bring up. So I think Kuti Songe, it was like a no-brainer that we have Uzozi, because she was just instrumental in leading a lot of these conversations. And we understand ukubana it's one of the things that are very close to her heart in the gender-based violence and femicide. So that's why we were like, she is the person that we need to involve and make sure that she comes through. And she was just really excited, Naye, to be invited as a keynote speaker Glonyaka. So we're really looking forward to her keynote address, especially around this theme, okokubana uzawuthini. But also I think the kids, man, just the communities as well, be excited to walk alongside Miss Universe. I know I am going to be quite, you know, just in 2019, we were in front of our TV screens watching Uzozi, and the message that she...
2019.
It was 2019 as well. It was 2019 as well.
Wow.
You know, her message changed the entire world about girls and leadership. So 2019 we also lose Uinene. Do you see, Ubana, there's so much alignment, and 6 years later we hear, what does leadership look like? What does having young girls being empowered look like? So there's just so much alignment. That's why she was just a no-brainer to be a part of this initiative.
Yeah, so what's the route and the plan for this year's march for those who would like to attend? And also, what do you want someone who hopes to attend to know before they show up at the march on Saturday?
All right. So the route, Sizai Kopa, I think on Thursday or Friday, but we are starting at Beacon Bay Country Club. That is where we're all starting, and then we're going to go all the way up Siyokabela Pa Pezulu by the traffic circle, and then we're going to go back down to Enansikeni, Beacon Bay Country Club. So that is where we're going to be having the speakers as well. We are expecting government officials to be a part of the day. We are expecting institutions such as your Gender Commission for Gender Equality. We've sent out quite a number of invites. We are expecting high institutions of learning. We do know that some of them are going to be taking part. We've invited over 25 civil society organizations. So they are also going to be sharing about the work that they are doing. So Umdoya Yopayana, there's a lot that they're going to gain, not just by being in the presence of Miss Universe, but also just understanding ukubana who's doing what in Buffalo City and how can they be assisted. So it's just going to be such an important day for people about Buffalo City, and I urge abantu to pull through. Be comfortable, wear your black, wear your sneakers. We are also going to be selling our merchandise for people that want t-shirts. We get this quite a lot. Not we want to wear Uinene Mkhotyana Foundation merchandise, so we are going to be selling, and they're very, very cheap. We've already released a pre-order form. It should be available on our Facebook. If ever Kabiko available on our Facebook, I'll make sure that it's available namhlanje. But I do know that it's available for people that want to order t-shirts, buffs, and caps and bucket hats. Yeah.
Speaking on government, the foundation has spoken before about promised funding from government through the national plan on GBVF not reaching NGOs on the ground. Where does that fight currently stand?
It's been quite difficult. For example, I just joined Kulonya Kamna, and I do know for sure Ukoti, we have not been supported with leading Le Nansika Le Macha Lonyaka. It's the family that is ensuring Ukoti everything is happening and that the legacy of Uinene is still alive, and we are carrying on with the work as Asikalile, you know, in honor of her memory. So it's still a challenge in Dabaye funding, and I really just want to urge government institutions to support, because beyond as much as Senzaya, there's real community work that we're passionate about that we are doing. Like as ambassadors, those young people need training. Those young people need support in terms of the work that they're doing. The soccer teams is Lalini. They need support. And there's a lot of plans that we have to grow the work that the organization is doing. So we really need that support.
I like that. Now, a bit a question that is a bit more personal, because you're a man that is doing this work on a full-time basis. What do you think is the specific responsibility of men in ending gender-based violence? Not just them not being the abuser, right? What does that responsibility look like, and what could men do to help end this fight?
Oh, that one hits home. One, we've got a responsibility to call out perpetrators of gender-based violence in our communities. I'm saying that because we know some of our friends that are perpetrators of gender-based violence, yet we don't call them out because they are our friends. We've got a responsibility of educating ourselves about gender-based violence and what it looks like, because we've got a tendency yokuthi ndimbetha because ndiyamthanda, and ndimbetha because she did this. Ndimbetha, you justify a lot of the things that you actually do as a man. We understand, and you even find ngamanye amaxesha ukuthi even the people that are within the space, say GBV, especially around consent, I'll make an example around consent. Hayi bendimthengele isavana, for example, eklabini, and she was drunk, but you slept with her. But you call yourself a GBV activist as a man. So those are some of the things that we need to unlearn. And those are some of the things that we need to call out. Kwathina, educate yourself as a man. Ukuthi ithetha ukuthini le nto ye gender-based violence. And also there are certain conversations that we need to have singamadoda sisodwa. When we speak ebuhlanti, for example, we need to challenge certain things that are taught to young boys. There's a lot of toxicity that I sit and cringe xa ndiyimameleyo. So we need to take these conversations to the spaces apho sihlangana khona singamadoda. And also we've got a responsibility of ensuring into yobana iinkosi zethu ephondweni, and andazi ke kwezinye indawo whether or not they've got inkosi, but Tina, for example, I'll speak in the context of the Eastern Cape, we know that we've got traditional leaders. We have a responsibility of collaborating with them and ensuring ukuthi nabo they are also sensitized around GBV. And also when it comes to organizations ke ngoku zamadoda, they need support. It's one of the things that bendizibonile. I think a couple of years ago, I served in the Eastern Cape men's movement, where it was just a collective of organizations, zamadoda apha ephondweni, that are fighting gender-based violence. And most of them, those are community-based organizations that have not been previously funded. And their work, you'd find that is so important, especially about teaching boys how to become men and how to become responsible men in society. But you find that there's little support that goes into that. So again, funding comes in as well. But we really have a collective responsibility of educating ourselves about GBV and calling out any toxic behaviors that we see within our close circles as well.
Yeah, and how should we be teaching young boys about gender-based violence? At what age should those teachings start, and what do they need to include?
I will speak from personal experience. I started working in the gender space in 2019, and I was working for a program, I think it was the first one in the province, called Equaloletu, that was focusing on shaping equal gender norms. We started educating kids from the age of 10 to 14. That was the specific focus. It starts and it's so beautiful because it starts teaching kids about the changes that they are going to go through and why those changes are important for their own development, and why xa umntana ebona umntana oyintombazana, for example, ekhula amabele okanye starts menstruating, they should not make fun of them as boy children. It starts looking at bullying, for example. It looks at gender and sexuality. So those are some of the conversations that we are trying to bring. It looks at power dynamics. So we've got activities that have really been perfectly crafted for kids that age to say, let's have these conversations at a language that you understand. And there are so many things that, we discovered when we were facilitating these discussions in school. We worked in Buffalo City at the time. We worked in Amatole region at the time. I know the program is still doing amazing work as much as I left years later. So those are some of the conversations really we should be having with kids around gender identity. What does that look like? Why should you respect other people, not just for their gender, but for who they are as human beings, so it really starts at that age. I think for kids as young as 5, man, you can already have those conversations to say, why do you feel the need to bully umdana? Why do you think boys should not be playing with dolls? Why should you tease umdana indobazana for crying, when they're hurt? Because that also speaks to emotions and how umdana internalizes a lot of things. We're teaching boys intobana makangakali when they're hurt. And why is that? You are teaching that boy to suppress their emotions. And when they grow, remember, they are going to grow and be violent because they've got all of these suppressed emotions that they do not know ubana bazazithini. And it manifests itself in a way of violence. And again, I think just the last part on this, Kukuti, when we speak about gender-based violence, remember, you are going to empower the girl child. The girl child is going to date umntanaka esethu who is not empowered, who's a boy child, who has been taught to suppress his emotion, who has been taught that a female is inferior, who has been taught everything under the sun. They start dating. What do you think is going to happen? This girl child is empowered. This one is not empowered. They've been taught yonke lento kwi society. Violence is going to happen. It's inevitable that this boy child will feel challenged by this one. Because they can't stand a woman that is empowered. They can't stand a girl child that is empowered.
And just before we let you go, what is the role of language in the fight against gender-based violence? A wording like lawe yo lamdana fundi yo strongile zawe yo, and they're referring to girls, they're referring to people. So what must we change in our language and in our diction when we speak about women as well in the fight against gender-based violence?
That is so, so important. We need to unlearn ezo zinto ezo. It's actually so problematic. I sit and cringe when I hear a man subjecting women to that, because one, you are seeing this person as an object. And already you can find that at times language you understand. So it's very problematic, because it's part of izinto that we need to educate our communities about ukuthi awukwazi ukureferisha okanye awukwazi ukuthetha nomuntu of the opposite gender ngehlobo othetha ngalo. You understand? Especially as men, it goes back to conversations. Let's have this conversation. Let's call each other out when it comes to indaba ye language. Makhe kufundiswane man, maske siqhuqhane at least noko sibadala ngoko xa kuthiwa la way ukuba ukumbuze umuntu ingaba ungathanda xa kuthiwa udadewenu yila way
mamakho
you understand. So if funeke nathi sikwazi man ukukholana out to say noko mhlekazi I see you.
Esethu, this is your camera. If you could just speak to the relevant stakeholders, a government as well, on the issue of funding, what would you say? And for everybody who will come across this, interview and this conversation, what would you like them to take away from the work that the foundation is trying to do?
Okokuqala mandibulele to the people that have really responded well to the posters that esizireleasileyo. The response has really been overwhelming and positive. I am positive that we're going to be seeing well over 500 people taking part at this year's walk. So thank you so much, Buffalo City, and people that are going to be coming from outside. Secondly, we would like to ask our government institutions to please kindly support businesses. Please kindly support the work that Uyinene Mrwetyana Foundation is doing. It's really important, especially in the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. In order for us to be able to continue with this work, we need financial muscle and we need financial backing. To the people about le interview namhlanje, we are meeting on the 15th of August 2026 at 7 a.m. in Beacon Bay Country Club. We look forward to having you there. Please make sure that you're comfortable and you wear your black, or you can wear your purple. It's more than okay. Otherwise, thank you so much, baby, as well, for just having me and giving me this time to talk about the work that we're doing.
Yeah, Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Esetu Soteni, who's the project manager for the Uyinene Mkhotyana Foundation, speaking to us ahead of their gender-based violence and femicide march that will be held on Saturday. So please make sure you do be a part of it. Exactly 10 o'clock. So it's time for the news. When we come back, we get ready for the Pulse of the Nation segment with Dr. Lukhanyo Nyati. Good morning.
The Voice Lounge, where voices come to life.